Hello and welcome to Malt, the non-chill filtered whisky blog. I'm Andy and this is Whisky Review number 83. And this is also the same shirt that I wore in the last review because I'm doing it on the same night. What I have for you today, I'm very excited about this one, is a Highland single malt Scotch whisky. It is a whisky that is very close to my heart. I'll put it back down for a minute so you can see it a little bit. I appreciate some of it's cut off at the current arrangement. It's a whisky that has received great aplomb in the past. It is a whisky that is held in very high regard by a lot of whisky bloggers and a lot of people in the whisky community. And it comes in the form of this. I'm sure there should be some sort of like mystical music playing in the background here, but I'm not going to do it. The Glendronach 15 Revival. Now, this is the re-release version of the Glendronach 15. I also realised that I have not put a glass on my table, so if you just bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to scoop, maintain eye contact. Just going to go over it. Yep. There we go. Thank you very much for that. Apologies people. Where was I? Glendronach 15, yes. This is the re-release version of the Glendronach 15 Revival that came out following what you could describe as a hiatus from Glendronach's distinct lack of aged stock when the original 15 basically was around for quite a while. It reached fever pitch of people loving it and it basically sold out, they ran out. And the old version was matured in Oloroso sherry. Now the new version, I don't know if it's, oh yeah, it does say on this one, as you will read there, matured in Pedro Jimenez sherry casks. Hopefully autofocus did me a solid there so you can read that. It's bottled at 46%, it is non-chill filtered, it is natural colour, and oh boy would you look at that colour, oh my days. Colour for days, look at it, look at it, oh god. You can tell I'm getting excited about this one, can't you? Now, before I crack on, and I'm going to ramble for a little bit longer, so I do apologise. You can feel free to skip. You see that little bar at the bottom, the little red one? You just pull the little ball and just go zip further along if you want to ignore this bit. If not, crack on. Glendronach has a very, 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 very special place in my heart because the Glendronach 15 was the first bottle of whisky that my now wife bought me about, Christ, when was it? 12 years ago? Ish? 10, 12 years ago? I can't even remember. It was a while ago. It was a while ago. I'm sure it was about 10 years ago. And basically, I'm sure, I think it was anyway. That's really going to wind me up now. But anyway, prior to that, I've always drank whiskey, right? Even when I was a teenager, I had very little money. What money I did have, I squandered and went out. But what I actually used to do is I used to buy Tesco value whiskey. I used to buy Sainsbury's own whiskey, whatever that is, their value brand, as the smart price whiskey. Because at the end of the day, I very quickly realised that Scotch had a required quality, a required standard. It had to be 3 years old. It had to be bottled at 40%. And at least then I wasn't like drinking paint stripper vodka or, £3 gin. I'd rather drink £7 bottle of whiskey in a plastic bottle. That's what Tesco values used to come in. And like after that I moved on to bourbon, and moved on to Scotch, and my family started gifting me things like Glenmorangie and Bowmore 12, yada yada. But this is something my wife got me for Christmas one year. And I will never forget that first sip I had of it. I think a lot of you watching will hopefully have had this experience with whiskey. It sounds strange to say it to people that don't drink whiskey, I find, but when you talk to guys such as yourself, guys and girls that do, you kind of have an affinity with it, you know what I mean? I took a sip of this stuff and I was blown away. I was in love straight away. I was head over heels. I bought another bottle straight away. I consistently bought bottles over the time of its release, and I have consistently bought bottles over the time of its re-release. I actually have 3 bottles now. Hopefully she can't hear me, she thinks I have one. So with that in mind, again, lovely, lovely colour, lots of beading and legs around the glass there. So, the old release, again, Oloroso, this is Pedro Jimenez. It does have a different flavour profile, however, it is still undeniably Glendronach. So, on the nose, right? And it is going to be different from the original release, don't get me wrong. If you've not tried this already and had the original, it will be different. Very nutty. Something kind of like pecans, which have kind of very sweet, sort of like, what's the word, like almost woody flavour to them. You're going to inevitably have those stereotypical Speyside kind of notes, even though it's not Speyside whiskey. It's a Highland whiskey, but it is so heavily sherried, it carries those over, akin to, say, a Glenfarclas. I'm not saying it smells like a Glenfarclas, but it shares certain stereotypical traits that Glenfarclas may carry. So, say, rum-soaked raisins, Christmas cake, etc, etc, etc. But what I do find is you get things like medjool dates. And yeah, I know I sound like a knob, but it's a very Waitrose thing to say, isn't it? Oh, medjool dates. But there is a real difference between medjool dates and other miscellaneous dates. That sort of come across a lot lighter, but they're still at the same time richer. They've got a nice sort of sugary coating to them as well, which you just pick them up at, particularly at Christmas. You get them quite a lot at Christmas. You open the box and it just smells phenomenal. There's coffee. There's a lot of coffee in there. Sort of dark Colombian roasty thing kind of going on. I'm no barista. I don't know the variety. And that PX influence is undeniably massive. High, very high notes of that sherry, just tearing all the way through it. It's not as heavy, in my opinion, as Oloroso. I don't think it's quite as clunky, arguably, as Oloroso. Personally, I prefer PX sherry mature whiskies, as sherry goes. I have had some good Oloroso whiskies, don't get me wrong. I've also had some very good PX whiskies as well. I have no qualm in admitting, as I have in previous reviews, my personal favourite is ex-bourbon. But I do like a sherry bomb as well occasionally. Some dark chocolate. And black tea. Right. Now this retails at about 60 quid. There or thereabouts. Between 58 to 62 I've seen it. So you've got quite a narrow window there. It's very popular. This has actually been put together by Rachel Barry, who now oversees the overall portfolio that Brown-Forman purchased from Billy Walker. So we're talking Glendronach, we're talking Benriach, and we're talking Glenglassaugh. Never know if I pronounced that right. I'm sorry, I'll admit, I'm not perfect. So, it is expensive. 60 quid's not cheap. But in the current market, a 15-year-old of this quality, and with this sort of prestige, this heritage, I think it's kind of to be expected. It didn't used to cost that. The previous release was nowhere near that. I seem to remember the previous release was something like 45 quid. Don't hold me to it, but I'm sure it used to be about 45 quid, maybe even less when it first came out. But we live in different times. So on the palate, let's see what we've got. Oh my days. You could see my face straight away. That mouthfeel is phenomenal. And that palate. Oh, woo. Oh, just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. Okay. Right. Sorry. Coffee. That coffee from the nose. It's in abundance on the palate, and I love my coffee. I'm talking a flat white here. It's milky, it's rich, it's gorgeous, it's frothy. Again, the dates. Yes, the fruit cake, the Christmas cake, wedding cake, whatever it might be. It's a fruity cake. It's there. Rum and raisin ice cream. I love rum and raisin ice cream, and it is there. Yes, it is there again. Walker's shortbread. It's got a lovely sort of sugary, crisp, lovely shortbread goodness. Oh, I'm going back, sorry. Just give me a minute. I'm really going to wind you up, you know that, right? This, when you put this in your mouth, right, it feels like your teeth are rotting. I keep doing that to my lips because it's like, it feels like there's sugar on my lips. It's like so sweet, but so intense. But it's sweet, right? It's not cloyingly sweet. It's not sickly. It's such a finely and well balanced whiskey, and I think that's the key to this release. It's heavy and yet light in all the right places. It's so well balanced. It's so in tune with itself. Dr. Barry's done a fantastic job. She's done a phenomenal job of bringing this back to the table and used what stocks Glendronach have got to put this release together and bring it back to the public. Because quite rightly, the previous release was held again in such high regard that people are even now still a bit they've got a bit of trepidation about the new release. Oh, it's not as good as the old one. Tough luck. You can't get the old one. Move on with your life. This is something different. It's the same, but different. It's not trying to say it's going to match what it used to be. They've taken it from a different angle, but it doesn't make it a worse angle just because something's different. Doesn't mean it's any worse because it's not the same as the last release. Would I say it's better? I'll tell you at the end. Got golden syrup, honey, and then again my lips are sticky. What the hell, man? And then going back into really kind of like heavy, rich, deep stewed fruit. Maybe there's sort of like a little meaty quality in there as well, actually, but not in a bad way. And then I'm going to say Christmas cake again, Christmas pudding and stuff, and I can't quite get over that this is back. I'm so chuffed. I was in Glasgow for work when this was released, and I went to see Frank at the Pot Still, because it's like an institution in Glasgow. If you ever go to Glasgow, 2 places you need to visit, right? The Pot Still on Hope Street, and the Bon Accord, alright, in the West End. Absolutely great whiskey bars. And anyway, I went in and basically I saw it there on the shelf, because originally it wasn't actually for public release. For the first couple of weeks it was released at the distillery. You could only get it from the distillery. So they'd sent a lad up there and said, go and get some Glendronach, do a few rounds of distillery exclusive bottlings, get to Glendronach and get a couple of bottles of the 15. And I was like, come on mate, I've got to have that, and it's got to be done. And it's on my Instagram, I think, but I think it's on my personal one, so I'll shift it over to my Maltbox one. And I had it, and it was like meeting an old friend again. It was like meeting a friend that I'd not seen for years, and I just got this huge swell of emotion. It sounds really sad, but I was just chuffed to bits. I was absolutely chuffed to bits that I could have it again. And like I say, I've got a few bottles in. The finish, whilst I've been rambling on, it's going to be a long review, guys. You've waited 2 weeks for reviews, and I told you there'd be 2. I didn't see how long this one would be. Any excuse. Again, I just want to reiterate, the cask management here is great. It's so well managed. Really high quality casks being used here. I mean, just going back in them, and it goes to show you, doesn't it, how whiskies can change over time in the glass, and when you reapproach the nose after having a sip of something, or the palate after you've nosed it again. I got blackberries just there, like really, really nice, not too sweet, not sour blackberries, and I'm also getting kind of like a well made, very almost too well done pastry, if you know what I mean. I'm just on the tip of burning, but it's lovely, lovely, lovely stuff. The finish, long, predictably warming, like a warm welcome. Sweet, yes, a little bit of oak influence in there, maybe a little bit of spice, a little bit of heat. Overall, a very, very, very worthwhile experience. And you can imagine this is going to get a high score. I might as well say it, it's going to get a high score. It's not going to be 3, 4, 5. This, for me, is a whiskey of pilgrimage. This effectively, and I had drunk whiskey before, I've just sort of told you my whiskey journey at the start. This is what really kicked things off for me. This is what made me sit up and say, Jesus Christ, there is so much to be had here. I'm in love, I'm going in 100%. And I've never looked back, as you can tell by the shelves. And to have this back, not just on the shelf, but in my life as well. This doesn't sound good, does it? I'm just so glad to have it and to be able to have the opportunity to try it again. Albeit in a different guise, it's still fantastically presented. Again, 46% non-chill filtered natural colour, because why would you mess with it? You don't need to mess with it. They've got great quality base distillate. And not only that, they know how to manage a good sherry cask up at Glendronach, don't they? Let's face it, that's what they're becoming renowned for and became famous for. And Dr. Rachel Barry's done a fantastic job. And with that in mind, I'm going to give this whiskey a score of 8.5 out of 10. 9 out of 10. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I don't give a shit. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. 8.5. 9. 8.5. 9. Maybe. 9. 9. Nope, it's 9. 9. 9. It's a 9. So anyway, thanks for making it to the end of this this epic. I don't know if you've seen The Godfather, but I imagine if you watched all 3 of them and then all 3 of the Lord of the Rings films back to back, it probably reaches about the same amount of time this review's taken. So thanks for sticking through. Please feel free to grab a refreshment, maybe bathroom break or something. What I will, one last thing, please do feel free to subscribe. I'm not going to beg you to subscribe, but if you want to, if you enjoy the content, if you enjoy my mumbling and rambling, please feel free to do so, because it makes it worthwhile me doing it. Also, follow me on Twitter, because I'm very, very active on there, always posting my new purchases, or like a bit of tweet tasting going on. So the tag for that is @maltbox, nice and simple. I'm on Instagram @maltboxwhiskey. Thanks very much for watching. See you soon.